you've beaten him on last. That's right. I remember I watched that TVT. I think over your shoulder. It was actually one of those games where you like did heavy turtling, played mech, right? And I think you beat him. Is that what it was? Those games.
I don't know. There's a lot of times we played together.
That's right. Well, nonetheless, let's go ahead and introduce our players. In the bottom right, speaking of him, it is Everize, under the ID keyed Everize. And of course, both these players are kind of bantering because Suppy says, "It's time to get revenge for you stealing my bed." And Everize says, "It wasn't stealing. I just borrowed it." Very nice.
I don't know why they were stealing each other's beds, but I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, well, it's always one of those awkward conversations due for a later stage of life. But we'll see how things pan out. In the top right, we have Suppy, who's actually extremely young. He's, I think, 19 years old or 20. And that's actually kind of the whole premise of StarCraft 2. A lot of these youngsters are just playing so well. Leenock, Stefano's actually really young as well, and these guys are becoming the superstars and really leading it on. And you know, it's sad to say, but a lot of the older guys like Boxer and you know, they're slowing down, and it's really tough. And you see that as this time transitions, really young guys like Suppy are the ones rising up.
Well, White Raw did
White Raw's the exception
well recently.
White Raw's really good.
He was not bad at all, but yeah.
I mean, MC recognized White Raw as one of the best foreigners at one point.
Yeah,
that's if MC said I was one of the best foreigners, man, I'd record that audio and play it every time someone questioned my casting.
That's better
ability.
than Idra calling you okay.
Yeah. Because MC says everything is Imba, right? So it's really nice.
Imba and luck. Imba and luck.
That's right.
That's all it is. CC first coming out of our Terran hero over here, following up with 2 barracks right behind this. Suppy, of course, scouts it out immediately with this first Overlord. Very, very lucky for him to actually scout his opponent out first, especially when it is CC first. The natural inclination is actually to get a third hatchery directly after this when you see a command center. But if you know it's 2 racks, you can actually wait until you get 2 queens, just splurge all of that money initially on your first 2 injects, and then get the 3rd base, just knowing that you have a little bit more time to get 2 more queens out to deal with any potential marine threats.
Yeah, and the key thing to note, Andre, what you said is that it's going to be marine threats. The fact he sees 2 barracks knows that Hellions would be severely delayed for a while if he's going to get Hellions at all. In fact, that's kind of been transitioning towards that marine poke early metagame in TVZ, where a lot of Terrans love poking with 5 Marines, maybe at like the 6-minute mark, and then poking with, you know, like more Marines to see what they can really get away with. And I know Thorzane really loves doing it, and I tried copying it, but for the life of me, I cannot do it. I know Illusion loves doing it, Illusion from Quantum Gaming as well.
I swear, sometimes I see these pros doing things, I'm just like, how do you do that? I swear I'm doing it at the same time as you, and I have like comparable micro to you, but it's like, I lose against ladder scrubs and you win against pro gamers.
Yeah, and then they go against pro gamers and they like make it look so silly, right? It's just
Seriously.
It's absolutely mind-blowing. But we're going to see that Everize is actually sticking on 2 barracks for now. We'll see if he drops more or even a 3rd command center. The nature of things is how you actually feel what Zerg is doing. And a 3rd command center it is.
Yep, 4 queens out in the field just about now. And obviously that enables him to defend against a lot of different huge pressure builds. I love what Everize is doing, just making sure he's clearing up any sort of Overlord coverage on the field. Might be able to get this. Yeah, he'll be able to get this.
He almost did it, man. That was really close. But
oh, man, look at how smart Suppy is, though. He's keeping a Zergling right on the side to check if there is a potential command center being started over there. So that's very clever by him. But overall, this is, as we so many times see, it starts off, you know, you think it's going to be super, super involved in this early game stage, but really the game starts around 3 base against 2.5 bases for Terran. And that's where we actually see a lot of the divergence these days.
Ooh, here we see the 6-minute Marine poke is a little bit delayed because he cleared out his 3rd base, but he's really trying to get a gauge or sense of what Zerg is doing. Now he sees that many queens, he knows at least the 4 queens are out, but realistically, Suppy's actually getting a 5th queen to really get all 3 hatcheries and then spread creep very aggressively. Now the Marines will get in here, but the question is, will Suppy be able to defend that 3rd base, or is that 3rd base going to be forced to cancel, Andre?
I think he's going to have to cancel it. It depends, though. These Zerglings are going to get in here. Metabolic boost isn't anywhere near finishing, and these queens making these slow, treacherous
Very
walk.
nice.
My goodness, these Marines. just critically putting Everize ahead.
Yeah.
And it's going to be so difficult for Suppy to actually play this off because all of his investment expected this third base to come up. Once it doesn't come up, it's like, well, I have no advantage in my gas count, in my tech, anything really. Yeah. Oh man, if he picked off that drone, that would have been huge. Yeah,
that would have stalled another 30 seconds of walking a drone all the way around. And just like we said, the Marine poke is not necessarily meant to do anything crippling, but just to really see what Zerg's doing, and if you can punish it. Oh, he's going to pick off another Overlord as well.
Whoa.
This is becoming a little bit way too efficient at this point.
Yeah, this is getting a little crazy, man.
Yeah, and the second Overlord is going to drop as well. Very, very cost-efficient Marines, not only for just destroying stuff, but also scouting information and seeing everything of his opponent. And now Everize is in a really good spot where he can just transition very easily to ooh, he's actually getting a lot more factories at this point. So, and some Blue Flame Hellions, really nice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I wasn't expecting Blue Flame Hellions. The normal transition directly after this is just to take your third base, max, to whenever you can, get 2-2, and then push out. I mean, that's like the most standard way to actually progress it on. Everize, though, changing it up. Of course, this is going to be a reactor. He is doing a Blue Flame Hellion plus Marine Marauder, or probably Marine Marauder push. And with that, it's obviously very, very powerful. But just a simple thing like Speed Banelings or even Infestors, that will actually smash this push. So I'm actually a little bit worried for Everize in this position. I think this is a very unnecessary risk to take. But if he actually does pull ahead with it, he will most likely win the game with this.
Yeah, there's a huge post on Team Liquid Strategy forums, which has gotten a lot better recently. I know a lot of people complain about that, the quality of that forum, but it's actually improved a lot. And they were talking about how Hellion Bio has actually become a really nice point of mobility in TVZ, because not only do, Stim Marines and Marauders can be everywhere, but Hellions also kind of really add integrity in case you get surrounded, especially with Blue Flame.
Oh, yeah.
Especially since how Zergs have been just favoring mass Zerglings to hold them up. And I know, because Andre plays ZVT against me, and he makes 150 Zerglings, and even if I play Bio, I get surrounded, and I don't have an answer to Banelings. And those Hellions add a very huge anchor to that mass Zergling Baneling style to hold you off until basically Hive Tech.
Yeah, when I teach TVZ, there's the golden rule in this matchup. It's you either have Hellions on the field or you have Siege Tanks on the field. You have to have one of those two or else you're dead. Roach Zergling Baneling is actually so powerful, and Zergs are getting so smart with it that it will crush you 95% of the time. There's very few situations where it won't. So make sure that you actually invest into one of the two. And that's why Hellions, they're going to be the weapon of choice right now. These are going to pop out here, and if your opponent is only relying on Zergling Baneling, well, you're actually in a lot of trouble. Now, you can get enough Banelings to the point where, obviously, you're able to just cripple everything. But look at how much space that Everize is able to get. So many creep tumors, so much time wasted. And really, Everize can just back up from here and play it macro. He doesn't need to actually continue going on. Just killing all of this, the creep tumors is sufficient.
Goodness. Just like how many units he has at this point. And just in terms of raw army supplies, that's 71 compared to 48, and he forced 30 Banelings out of his opponent.
Yeah.
And again, he's so mobile. Hellions and Marines can just jet out of there, and if he ever gets in trouble, just pick up and just have the Hellions run and just have the Marines pick up in the medevacs, and you're easy peasy lemon squeezy out.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's the power of Hellion Marine. And this is why I think Hellion Marine is the most powerful combination you can do in the beginning stage. Siege Tanks just make you way too immobile, and it tells too much to the Zerg. It tells them, hey, I'm not going to be pushing out for quite a long time. You can go ahead and do what you want. You can see Hellions and Marines around the field. Do you see a fourth base coming anytime soon? No way. There's no way Zerg can actually do that.
No way.
No way.
No way. Oh, Burrow Baneling's trying to get into it.
Oh, wow.
Suppy only has
close.
one in position. But now that Everize has seen it, he has to be a little bit more cautious with how he does things. He's going to scan and try to pick off even a couple of creep tumors that were going over to his side of the map, honestly. So that's actually a pretty good job by Suppy, spreading creep on every single angle possible.
Yes, most definitely. Buying a little bit of space. Now, Corruptors are on the field. This will help dramatically with defending against drops, obviously cleaning up the medevacs, but really his main concern is actually this impending push. I mean, this push has so much potential here, and Uh-oh, speed banelings right around the corner.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very... It has to come down to complete micro. Everize has to split well. He has to avoid getting surrounded. Suppy's going to go now before the tanks are sieged and the banes are rolling off. Creep! You can see the splits from Everize. This is going to be enough. The Marines are not cutting back on the southern side, and Everize has lost a lot of supply, but he still has a huge pack of Hellions to really deal with any kind of speedlings around. And now he's walking onto Creep. The Zerglings really want to get surrounded. The banes are also trying to detonate onto those Hellions, and Suppy trying to hold off. Has he done it, Andre?
It's tough to say. I mean, Suppy lost a ton from that, and from here, he has to remake so many more units. He's hitting Hive Tech, but right now, it's like really tough. Does he actually make Hive Tech units, or is he going to go ahead and invest all of that gas into something like Infestors? If I were the Terran in this position, I would actually be pushing yet again and really forcing my Zerg opponent to be making those Banelings, making those Infestors, different things that will stray away from that Hive Tech power. In this position, it looks like Everize is just going to go ahead and relax, but look at that supply difference, 162, 141. You know your opponent hasn't been on that 4 base. Keep putting on that pressure, keep trying to do stuff, because it will ultimately be successful in this current position.
Something that might come to bite Everize in the behind is something that might have thwarted DDE, and that's the worker count, Andre. He's already at 88, and he's making more SUVs.
Oh,
that can throw quite a wrench into things, especially based off army composition, because Everize would love, especially on Entombed Valley, where you can get good surrounds on things like Broodlords, it might come to really haunt him later on in the game. And you can see a huge massive Zerg run by with a lot of Banelings, but Suppy has to be very cautious not to lose these units.
Yeah, I think Suppy is okay. Look at this. Suppy actually has great control around the map with Zerglings being planted everywhere, Overlords in great positions. I mean, I really like just the due diligence of Suppy.
And his creep threat has been really religious at this point, because his queens have been staying in the center. Even though Everize takes out the creep tumors, he just respreads them.
Exactly.
Never happened.
And that's why it's so important to actually take that map control. That's why I said actually exert yourself out in the map again, because Suppy has been so good at making sure before the creep actually subsides, you actually throw down that queen as fast as possible and make sure that you still retain creep tumors on.
Andre, there's a huge amount of there's several Banelings making from the left side, potentially to flank, and Suppy can, if he does this beautifully, shuts down the army one more time, buys enough time for Broodlords. You can see that Everize also trying to go for the left flank, but he's not paying attention to his Marines. A great trade thus far, but Everize, of course, is making a lot more units. There's plenty more Marines where that came from, and at this point, Everize is backing up.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Everize is in a really tough position because he knows Hive Tech is imminent. Like, it's gonna come out pretty soon. So he knows he needs to make a move. It's just so scary because there was supposed to be all this investment to actually defend, or excuse me, not defend, but take out the creep. So it's really tough to actually reinforce if you want to attack a 4th base. So that's why I think this whole mid-game stage, the goal should have been to remove all the creep tumors on the field, not to actually try to pressure your opponent as much as possible. So Everize might be behind because of that. Just reinforcing is going to be so difficult.
It's really tough, Andre. 5 Broodlords, no 6 are on the way, but 5 are about to finish. And Suppy also has I want to say he has an Infestor to flank as well. He was moving around in the middle of the map, but he also has good vision of what his opponent's doing, and as soon as the scan goes down, he's going to see that Broodlords are on the way, so Everize has to be very cautious. A couple Infestors are caught in position as well, but no fungal to land them in place, and just like that, Everize has to worry about one less Infestor, but now he has Broodlords out into the field, and will Everize be able to get a good surround? He's going to try to take out this expansion, but the Zerglings are all going in for a huge surround. Everize is not moving backwards, and a huge detonation killing on many amount of Marines, and Everize only has tanks left after that huge excursion. And just like that, Everize's push has been denied with plenty left over from Suppy.
Yeah, it's really tough to actually push across the map like that. I mean, you're trying to target the 4th base down over and over and over again. You can't be doing that. I mean, in these positions, actually, he should just shove down the 3rd position over here if you actually want successful attacks. And once he claims that this position over here, he still does the same thing if he actually takes out the 4th base over here. It's still the same thing, it's just a shorter push distance, but he's trying to go cross map this whole time, and it's really stopping him from actually reinforcing, which inevitably weakens his push substantially. So this is a very tough situation for Everize to be in, because now he has Hive Tech, Suppy has Hive Tech, and he has creep control all in the center of the map. That gives him the ability to always defend against cross-map pushes and also gives him the ability to actually put on pressure since all of his units are much, much more powerful and mobile.
Everize is making an incredible amount of Vikings at a time. I think he's making 6, and he already has double armory, upgrading basically his Viking damage and his sustainability. So that's actually not the worst position possible. Now Everize realized I have a little bit too many workers, and look at that. He's scanning with his SCVs to try to take out creep tumors and make them at least pretty useful while he's taking position. So this is a great spot for Everize. You can see that Suppy really want to shut down the drops on the left, but now has to worry about an imminent push down the center. But for now, as long as the Broodlords are onto the field, Everize has to be very cautious with his tanks, because if the tanks go down, the Zerglings and Banelings are empowered and snipe the Marines, and all you have left are Vikings, which can be easily dealt with by the Infestors.
Medevac drops, going to be picked off in the top left. One Medevac goes down before it's able to unload anything. The second one will go down. Broodlord's able to clean everything up as well. It looks like Everize again trying to contest the center of the map. But it's difficult. It's difficult when you're walking on creep like this.
Oh.
And he's just asking for trouble.
It's really difficult situation because he has to be careful. If he gets caught with a fungal and all the Marines are down, and if he's not seized, the Zerglings go ahead and swarm a lot of the tanks. And now Suppy, he's the one trying to buy some time here. He has a lot of Banelings in production, trying to wait for some upgrades to also finish as well. And now Everize just waiting for a huge amount of reinforcement with Vikings. He's got an incredible amount, but even so, if he gets fungled, those Vikings are done for. So it's going to come down to a couple dynamics. Look at that. Infestor also dropping some Infested Terrans to try to weaken Everize's resolve at this point. Very nice little things that both players are doing in this matchup right now.
And here we go. I thought the first engagement was going to start up here, but the siege tank count is significantly diminished. That empowers the Infestors like crazy. Now the Infestors have room to actually step up and fungal growth without actually losing all of his Infestors. That's really, really powerful. A group of Marines are going to go to the top left, but the Banelings roll in. That's a situation where Baneling micro against Marines would have been so powerful.
Yeah.
But only one Marine lives at the end of that. In the meantime, there are 2 Banelings at the bottom middle. But you know what? Suppy, he's been playing this out so very well. And look at that. Oh my god. How many Vikings are out on the map? 28. Are you kidding me? And a ton of Ravens. Ravens are the way to go at this endgame stage, but you need battle cruisers as well. I think he's doing way too much. Oh my god.
He's going to try to see if he can land a fungal from below, and he gets it. A couple Corruptors are now engaging, but he needs to land more fungals and onto the Marines as well. But whoa, look how many Vikings Everize has. It's an incredible amount of macro provided by him, but these Broodlords are protected. That is the name of the game at this point. If he can take care of the Broodlords, he will be solid, but there are so many Vikings, and the Infested Terrans are trying to do as much DPS as possible. Now they don't have that many upgrades on them, and you can see the Broodlords are now starting to work on the production line of Everize. The Ravens are trying to enter into battle, but they don't have enough energy for the Seeker missile either, and Everize, despite him macroing very well this entire game, is going to lose a lot of production. The Banes are rolling into the center, Andre.
And this is, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Suppy just completely annihilating everything of his opponent. He saw how many Vikings his opponent makes, and Everize still needs to make more Vikings because he doesn't know whether or not his opponent is going to keep on reinforcing this or not. But look in the production tab, 7 Ultras on the way. And that tech switch is actually going to cripple Everize to the point where he can never come back. I don't see a way for him to actually deal with these efficiently because look, there's just Marines on the field. You need Marauders, you need Thors, you need siege tanks. All these things require so much gas, and Everize will not be able to keep up with this tech switch. A beautiful textbook tech switch will really solidify his win.
And again, I really have to say that Suppy has retained his Infestors. The fact that these have a lot of energy as well, and Everize, again, he's been macroing very well, but his micro and his position on the creep has really been costing him. And you can see another clump up and fungals on almost all the units. Everize is going to lose everything, and that is way too much damage. The Vikings are not going to clean up everything, but he says, well, these Vikings can't fight Ultralists, and even if they do, there's so many Infestors to lock them down in place, and the Ultras are just waiting, saying, come down, please, because I am just going to cleave anything that you send at me, and Everize is going to lose a lot of production. And Everize, he supply blocks Suppy, but this is only the amount of supply that Suppy needs. He's almost maxed. He's continue to keep a good drone count, because even during this entire time, Everize hasn't been able to drop. Yeah. He hasn't been able to deny bases, and Suppy has an incredible bank even behind this army.
Yeah, he can do anything he wants, and look at this, another transition. course, wow, these Vikings are actually doing a great job against Ultras, but finally meeting the wrath of those Ultras. They will go down. Corruptor switch is down. GG gets called. Everize taps out. Suppy will take his third game for tonight. No, fourth game. Excuse me.
That was the third game. That was the third game. Suppy, of course, has won $225. So not only is he banking in StarCraft, he's also banking in real life. And Suppy played really well. A couple key things. First, I want to commend Everize. Of course, he does have those early pokes really down. His early trades was phenomenal. And his macro from that point on was solid. He hit max way before Suppy did. He was at 200, and Suppy was at like 140.
Yes.
But the engagements, man, cost him so much.
Yeah, and it's classic positions with the close positions. I would say the vertical close positions on Entomb Valley. Terrans have a really tough trouble on where to actually push, and Everize chose to push cross map. Well, you can't really do cross map pushes until you're actually establishing the bottom left hand corner. You have to make sure that your main is kind of expendable at that point, because you have to defend too many locations. It's just not a good situation. Not only that, when you're doing cross map pushes, you need center control as well. He didn't have that, and that ultimately led to his demise, in my opinion. If he just went to the top right-hand position and just tried to assert his pressure there, I think that would give him a lot more, because he clears up the creep at the same time. He puts pressure. If he controls that one area outside the natural and the third base, he still kills the fourth base.
Yeah.
So it's the same push, but even better.
That
you do
fourth
more with
base, especially with the gases and the fact that Suppy was rushing Hive on Zerg and Baneling, pooling a lot of stuff. It was very key, and I love the small things Suppy did. Keep on creeping the center. The Infestors that kept going for the flanks to drop Infested Terrans or fungal the Vikings, incredibly key, because he fungled a huge part of the Vikings, forcing the engagement to start there. Otherwise, the Vikings, he would have to abandon some. And then from that point on, just really pick smart ways to really attack the Terran army. And I just love the small tactics he did. I mean, Everize was also doing the textbook things, trying to drop and take out bases, trying to send packs of Marines to snipe drones and to take out tech, but Suppy was extremely staunch in his fortitude and was not able to be broken. In the end, takes game number 3 and sends it to game number 9 where he'll face off against Slush. It's going to be a ZVZ, Andre.
Yeah, Slush, I think the trump card in the North American scene, definitely known as one of the best players. We'll see if he has what it takes to take out EG Suppy after this break. Don't go anywhere. More action from the NASL Gauntlet after this.